Dealers, could there be untapped revenue on your lot? Protective Asset Protection works with dealers to unlock new revenue streams through reliable protection products across most vehicle types. Visit protectiveassetprotection.com/automotive news to learn more.
Hey, this is executive producer Jake Neer in Detroit. Thanks for joining me for this bonus episode of Daily Drive. This coming week, we at Automotive News will drop our annual Top 100 Dealership Groups by Service and Parts Revenue ranking. We sat down with leaders from some of the top-performing groups to find out how they're driving growth in their fixed operations. You already heard from one of them on Friday's episode of the show. Here's a preview from our own Rudy Shork.
Automotive News has ranked the top 100 dealership groups based in the U.S. by service and parts and body shop revenue. Our top 100 service and parts package is all about giving you insight into the realities of the automotive service industry. We talk about how training and artificial intelligence are pushing growth in service departments, about body shop revenue trends in 2025, and we give you a look behind the scenes of how we make up our top 100 list. The average dealership body shop revenue fell in 2025, according to this year's data. But we at Automotive News go beyond that, giving you a glimpse into the reasons behind the drop. We also talk with dealers and service and parts directors to find out what they're prioritizing and how they're finding growth in the market. Retail reporter Gail Howe recently sat down with Matt Winston, Fixed Operations Director for Vaughan Automotive, to discuss how the group has improved the performance of its service and parts departments over the past year. They talk about investing in training and culture, adopting a growth mindset, and focusing on customer retention and affordability. Here's a glimpse into their conversation.
First of all, are you involved in also the body shop collision? And if so, where does that stand in the organization? I know that some groups are kind of shedding that business while others are maybe focusing on it. So tell me about Vaughn's, situation when it comes to body shop and collision.
Love that you brought that up. We have 3 collision centers, 3 different Toyota stores, the 3 in Texas. We don't have one in California yet. That's our other store. But we currently have the number 1 ranked Toyota collision center in Gulf States Toyota, which is in our region. So, our body shops perform very well. We had this one on Cal for very long, but it's been here ever since, Vaughan Automotive took it over. It wasn't performing at a high level, but we hired a very amazing collision director, and he's really just built the culture and, trained his people up, and he's done a phenomenal job there, and he rightfully earned the number 1 collision center in Gulf States Toyota.
So 2 things. Is it number 1 based on revenue? And what's the culture that he's built? Like, what's the secret culture that works?
Yeah, it's really training and accountability. They have a winning mentality, so they've been chasing this number 1 spot for a few years now, and this is actually our 2nd year of hitting it. And there's a lot of things that go into it. Revenue is part of it. Training is another part of it. Having your shop set up with the right tools and the right areas. It's on a point system, so it's on like a grid system. And he's beat it 2 years in a row now.
So what's the strategy to continue on this good path when it comes to the collision business? What do you have to keep doing to stay on top?
Yeah, well, it's just like for service and parts and collision, we have, we call it minimum performance standards for every position that we have here. And that goes all the way to the variable side. So, we clearly define our expectations for every employee to ensure, accountability and consistency. Everybody knows exactly where they stand, including myself, and how we're performing and areas that we need, to improve at, areas of opportunity. So, we kind of mimic those performance standards reviews with daily, weekly, and monthly training, right? So we always have ongoing development for our advisors, our technicians, our estimators, our parts personnel. They're structured sessions, and it's really just focused on areas of opportunity and, depending on where they're at, if they're new or if they're experienced, we have different training platforms for them, right? And, for the service side, we do something pretty cool. Well, we have a yearly walk-around certifications. So we certify every advisor every year on our selling system, pretty much just maintaining a high standard for customer interaction and make sure they know the process from start to finish. And it's even gone so far to where we created a little thing called the Tournament of Champions. And it's a competition to reinforce all our excellence between the stores with a healthy competition. We host it yearly. We call it the Tournament of Champions. It's across all stores, and each location will send their top 3 service consultants to compete. And the areas that are competing in are customer greet and walk around with their presentations. They'll present a multi-point inspection, with some failed items on there, overcoming objections, objecting handling, and then active delivery. The winner gets bragging rights. We give them a trophy. They win a trip, to recognize their elite performance and commitment to our processes. We've sent them to Cabo San Lucas. We've bought them a cruise one year, so it's pretty cool. They really look forward to it, and every year they're talking about when the next competition is going to be, and they're all trying to fight to compete for the store. So
that's so cool. Where does it take place? Like, how does it? Do you win a trip for you or you and your family, or how does that work?
So it's it'd be whoever wins and their spouse. So it's a trip for two, and then there's a total of. I think there was a total of 4 trips we gave out last year, so there's 4 winners. And, we hosted last year's in Houston at the Gulf States Toyota Center, their training center. They were gracious enough to loan us their training center and host the event. We've done one at the Hyatt Hill Country out in San Antonio, and then we've also done one at our Toyota Bernie store. So this will be our 4th year having this competition.
Dealerships today face tighter margins, shifting consumer expectations, and affordability pressures tied to broader economic uncertainty. At the same time, consolidation and digital retailing are changing how products are sold and supported. That's why many dealers are re-examining how asset protection fits into long-term profitability and business goals. For more than 60 years, Protective Asset Protection has worked alongside dealerships across the country, delivering trusted F&I solutions like vehicle protection plans, maintenance programs, limited warranties, guaranteed asset protection, and more, helping dealerships generate revenue while helping customers protect what matters most. In addition to protection products, dealers have access to programs, tools, and proven training designed to support a wide range of business models. From digital retailing capabilities to dealer wealth building programs, Protective's approach is centered on partnership, giving dealers the flexibility to explore what fits their operation today and how it may support growth over time. If you're a dealer and interested in tapping new revenue streams through protection products, get in touch. Visit protectiveassetprotection.com/automotive news. That's protectiveassetprotection.com/automotive news.
Many service and parts departments are implementing new technology as a way to improve their processes. The tech ranges from vehicle inspection videos to AI agents, and all of it is changing the face of the service and parts department. Hal also sat down with Roger Misamore, head of service and parts operations at Hendrick Automotive Group. They talked about how the group is implementing technology to give their service and parts department a competitive advantage. Take a look.
I know that, some of the big groups are shedding collision and body shop work. What's the Hendrick way when it comes to that? And, how are you making that worth it?
Well, if you buy it from us, we want to take care of you no matter what happens. We certainly don't want you to end up in an accident, but we want to be there for the whole ownership experience. And so the key to collision is the leadership and the whole commitment to fixing it by the OE standards. So it's pre-crash worthy is the term. And that's very important, more important than ever nowadays with the ADAS, which is the collision avoidance systems and everything. So we have invested, because Mr. Hendrick allows us to, in the very best as it pertains to collision and repair, and also that calibration piece for ADAS. So, our thing is we have more OE certifications than any other group in the country for collision. And so we play by that playbook rather than the traditional, how cheap can you fix it kind of model.
As far as like the number of collision centers, if you could just educate me, have you cut back at all on that work, or the same, pretty stable year over year from last year to, I guess, what you're expecting this year?
It's fluctuated a few here and there, but we are opening a brand new collision center in McKinney, Texas with our BMW store. And then here in Charlotte, we're combining 2 into a new one in Northlake, which is going to be the largest in our system at 104,000 square feet. So we are continuing to grow in collision. We're also looking at other markets where it makes sense. So we're not backing down. We want to be there for the customers.
Anything else that I haven't asked you about when it comes to, Hendrick service and parts and body shop or collision? Have I missed anything that you think is really important?
Well, I don't think you've missed anything. We just, we're so fortunate to work for Mr. Hendrick that takes care of people and allows us to provide a lot of benefits to all of our teammates, no matter what position that they have. And so, you just can't beat a united, motivated team. And we're allowed to build that culture and that working environment. So we're very grateful for that.
One follow-up question when it comes to that technician academy, is it hard to find technicians, or is that something that's kind of that you're good at because you have all of this training?
Well, so we have an incredible recruiting team, and so they've helped us build relationships with a lot of tech schools. Mr. Hendrick has been very generous with investing in a lot of technician schools. And so through that, we've been able to cultivate those opportunities. And so certainly if I wanted to go out and find a dozen ATECs today, that would be difficult. But we have a lot of success with bringing in our entry-level folks that we've already invested in and growing them. And that academy that we're adding is really going to accelerate their learning curve and advancement curve. It's going to be exciting to watch.
Some dealers don't even run their own body shops. Instead, they rent them out so that they can avoid managing staffing and day-to-day operations, while making money on rent and parts and sales. Dan Shine, senior editor overseeing service and parts coverage at Automotive News, recently sat down with John Masano, dealer principal of Masano Auto Group, which owns 4 dealerships in Pennsylvania. They used to own and operate a collision center for all of their dealerships, but Masano recently decided to rent it out to a third party. Here's how it's going.
Are you surprised that more dealerships aren't kind of following your lead and trying to find a partner like you found to take on your collision business, but still be a partner? Or is it just, or were you just kind of thinking you were fortunate and it's not for everyone? It won't happen for everyone like that.
It's interesting. I would think more people would do this, but I was in that boat. I wasn't going to sell until I did. So I think everyone has to find their own path and seek their own level with this. And it really becomes a realization. Can you run this body shop? Can you scale it? That was another decision that we had to make. Are we going to scale this? Are we going to add 2, 3, or 4? And that's when I made the decision we don't want to go that way, but we went this way. I think the more that dealers look at this, they'll look at maybe concentrating on their core competency, which is sales and service and parts.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I've talked to people in the collision business, maybe for the stories last year. And one of them, I always think of this quote. He said to me, if you're going to be in the collision business, you got to be in the collision business.
Yeah.
It's a hard work. It can be profitable and it can be rewarding, but you can't half-ass it.
No, and it's interesting. It's automotive, and in a sense, it's service, but it's not the tradition that we know, automotive service. It's a different type of business. Also reminds me a little bit of the rental business that we were in a while back. Of course, rentals is cars, etc., but that's a different business on the peripheral end of it too. And we were in the business since the early 80s. It went through a lot. It was just time was right, the consolidation. Hey, there's consolidation in obviously the dealership world.
Absolutely.
But I think there's spots for single point dealerships. We have 3 dealerships plus a used car supercenter, and we're in the town of Reading, Pennsylvania. So we feel we can carve out a nice niche for ourselves in that area.
And I think also cars are getting more complex. Putting them back together is more complex. It takes more sophisticated equipment, a little more patience. I mean, everything has to be just right for all those sensors and everything else to work again. And that's very labor intensive.
And that's also why we moved forward to manufacturer certification versus insurance preferred shop, because we were going to take a shot at that because we realized that was going to be the tip, the very top of automotive collision repair, to carve out that niche in our world. But the problem that happens, which I'm sure you're seeing from maybe being so close to the industry, total out these cars. So if we have a BMW or Mercedes, hey, it's great, we're certified for it, and it was a $40,000 repair, but obviously you have to use manufacturer certified parts, which is great. And you've got to absolutely get these cars back perfect because of all the sensors. They're looking at the time, the consumer, and the consumer waiting, put them in a rental car, and they're saying, you know what, let's just total these out. I don't know where they go after they're totaled out. I could surmise they go to an area or a country that doesn't need all of the sensors going on. And maybe if a light's on in the dash, they just clip that little light.
Right.
But that's that's not for me to worry about. But that was really in this kind of strategic chess match. That was the checkmate that made us say, listen, we're going to sell, because the consolidators are better at that than us. They know that business.
For a deeper dive into what's driving growth in the service and parts departments at top dealership groups, overall revenue trends, and the full rankings, visit autonews.com.
Thanks for listening to this bonus episode of Daily Drive. Come back on Monday for a brand new full episode of the show.